The Justice League is jumping off the pages of DC Comics and on to your cookies. From birthday parties to bake sales, we're bringing your favorite superheroes to life in the form of dazzling desserts. We're on a mission to create the most delicious DC Comics superhero party ever. And what better place to start than with Batman? We're going to take inspiration from the classic and then get creative, depicting the Dark Knight in icing 3 different ways before putting it all together for a show-stopping display. For the simplest filler cookies, we're going to recreate Batman's iconic logo. Even if you're a total newbie, this is something you can definitely handle. We're going to start with yellow dyed cookie dough. This will save us time and help to emphasize the emblem. We'll pipe the Bat logo on top and flood with black icing for a simple yet striking design. The first thing we need to do is color our dough using gel color. Gel color is the best option because it's highly concentrated and you can achieve super vibrant colors. To avoid a mess, I'll add the color while the dough is still in the mixer. I'll start with some white and add some lemon yellow. I'll add my flour just after the color and then mix together so I don't overmix the dough. Then I'll just let the mixer run until it's combined. I'm going to add a little bit more at a time until I get the shade I want. I can always add more, but if there's too much, I can't take it out. Now I'll just continue to add gel color and flour until I have the correct color and consistency. Once the dough is colored, we're ready to roll, cut, and bake our cookies. I always use sticks under the rolling pin to make sure that all the cookies are the same thickness. Then I'll cut the cookies out using my template. Now I'm ready to bake these off so we can get decorating. Our cookies are cooled and now we're ready to trace on our designs. So I've cut out some templates out of our class materials and I'm going to use an edible marker to trace those onto our cookie. So the most important thing to pay attention to when you're using the templates is just to go nice and slow around the edge. If you can find an edible marker that has a nice fine point, that is great because you're going to have to cover it up with the icing string. I'm using a black edible marker here because we're going to be piping a black oval. I like to keep the color as close to the color of the icing that I'm going to be using. That way, if it gets a little bit off, it's not as noticeable. If it's not perfect, don't worry. You can always go back over it once you lift the template up. So now we're going to trace the bat. I'm going to place it equidistant in our oval and go one place at a time. If you find that your marker stops working consistently, sometimes that can be because of the fats in the cookie that are on the surface. So just take the time and wipe the tip of your marker on a paper towel, and that should help. So now we're ready to mix our icing. Getting the right icing consistencies will have a huge impact on your results, and the only difference is the amount of water in each. You can use a spray bottle to add a little water at a time. You need a loose piping icing for the outlines. This is going to be thick enough to hold its shape, but thin enough that you can move around your shapes quickly. Our flood icing will be thinner. We want this to flow easily and smoothly around the cookie, but not so thin that it overflows the edges. To start, we're going to pipe the outline. You can start anywhere around this oval that you feel comfortable. I like starting at the bottom. I'm going to squeeze out a little bead of icing in order to anchor it to the cookie, and then I'm going to use that to pull away. What's really important to note here is that you're actually letting the string of icing fall onto the cookie. That way, you're actually letting the icing string do all of the work. The other thing to note is to try to align your speed and pressure so you're not pulling the string too fast, but you're also not making the icing get out of control where you're getting too ahead of yourself. So once I'm coming to the end, I'm going to stop pressure here and just touch those two together. I'm going to use my scribe. I'm just going to mesh those two together so we get the seamless oval. Next, I'm going to switch my tip and we'll start on the bat. So I'm using a smaller tip here because the space in between the oval and the bat wing is pretty small. I want to make sure that when I pipe my icing string, I'm not obscuring that small section. We want the space to show. So this smaller tip will allow me to do that. So we're going to start the same way. I'm going to squeeze out a small bead of icing and anchor it to the cookie. and then build my icing string and let it fall along the wing. So here I'm going to stop pressure, and I'm literally going to lay down the rest of this string to the end. And when I'm ready to start again, I'm going to do that small bead and continue on. So we have a very small curve here, so I like to stay closer to the cookie. That way I'm able to achieve those curves more easily. Sometimes when you pull that icing string too high, when you have those tight curves, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And any parts that are a little off, I'm just going to go in and fix with my scribe tool. So I'm going to pull my string because this bottom part is straight. And then once we get to the curve, I'm going to lay it down and stay close so I can make sure I make it around this curve. If you're not used to doing something like this, the scribe tool is your best friend. It'll fix all those misshapen lines, and no one will ever know. I let my icing set up for about 10 to 20 minutes. That's important because when we go to flood, we don't want to disturb that outline at all. So grab your flood icing, and I like to work from left to right. That way I can keep the icing seamless. If I were to work all the way around the outline and move all along the edge, it might be a little bit set up once I get around. I like to use my scribe tool to push it to the edge. That way we don't risk running it over. Plus, I can use my scribe tool to really draw out those corners for a nice, crisp end. It seems kind of silly, but those little details really make a difference. This medium flood icing can take a lot of volume. You can add in a lot, and that's what's going to make this bat really jump off the cookie. So don't be afraid to add a little bit more than you think it might be able to take. Our first cookie is complete. I love how we use the yellow dough to make this cookie a little more simple, yet the black icing is really striking. You've heard of the Bat Cave and Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Welcome to my hideout, the Cookie Cave. I come here when I need to take my designs to the next level. While our Batman cookies look stunning on their own, we can also use them to dress up other desserts. So for the Batman display, we're going to use the logo cookies to elevate some simple cupcakes. I've already got some chocolate cupcakes here with white frosting. You can make these yourself or just buy them pre-made if you're pressed for time. Then we're going to place the cookies on the icing. How easy was that? You can use the cookies as they are or even add a name or birthday message to dress them up even more. Now, instead of your guests having to throw away a plastic cupcake topper, they have a delicious cookie to eat, and it gives us more height and dimension for our final display. For our next cookie, we're going to take things up a notch with the Batmobile. I love this cookie because it looks so complex, but we're going to break it down into easy to follow steps. We'll start by outlining and flooding the whole cookie in black. Then add some luster dust to the vehicle and corn syrup to the windshield for some added shine. Finally, we'll pipe the details of the Batmobile right on top. Just like on the Bat logo cookies, I'm going to outline and flood in black. We're going to use black for the whole cookie, except for the windshield, we'll use a blue. It's best to let the flood icing dry overnight, and then trace your detail guidelines with an edible marker. Pipe the car details right on top of the flood, which saves a ton of time and still adds so much character. Flooding these small shapes on the front in yellow adds a really dramatic pop of color. Next, I gently add some dry luster with a paintbrush to give the Batmobile that metallic looking shimmer. Some corn syrup on the windshield will create the glossy appearance of glass. And just like that, our shiny Batmobile is ready for the streets of Gotham. We're ready for the centerpiece of our cookie set. This design is a unique take on the character and logo together. We'll start by piping the outline of the cookie in black and flooding it with yellow. Then we'll pipe the outline of our bat and logo and flood the base of the character. All the intricate details will be piped or painted right on top to give our finished cookie that wow factor. I cut out the oval from our class materials, traced it onto my cookie, and now I'm ready to start piping. I'm going to start here at the bottom of the oval. I'll squeeze out a small bead and then pull a long icing string and just drop it along the edge of my traced oval. I like to use very even and consistent speed and pressure as I move around. Now we're going to start flooding with the yellow from left to right. I like to move from left to right because I'm right-handed. That way I don't risk goofing up my icing moving the other direction. So if you're left-handed, I would recommend going the other way. I'm gonna give my cookie a little shake to help even out the icing. I've gone ahead and traced our design onto my cookie. You can also use a projector to do this if you want to make a lot really quickly. So I'm going to start at the corner of my bat here and just work my way around. I like to start with the outline of the bat first because I can build off all the other shapes from there. Reduces the amount of intersections I have with my icing strings, which helps to create a cleaner base. When you're piping the eyes, it's important to kind of cheat to the outside a little bit so that your outline doesn't eat into that shape. That way when you go to flood it, you still maintain that whole area. So when you're piping characters, especially, to maintain a really clean look and all those definitions, the order of your pipe lines is really important in that you start with an independent shape. So we started with his face here because no other lines depend on that shape. That way we reduce the amount of intersections we have because if I'm passing by another line, I risk pulling that line with my icing string, which can distort my design. So you want to shoot for the minimum number of intersections possible. Now, if you don't like how any of your lines turned out inside the bat, don't forget, we're going to be flooding this entire shape. So feel free to scrape off anything that doesn't look right to you at this point because once we flood in those lines, we won't be able to take anything away. For the flood, I'm going to start with the light gray of his shirt. When I start flooding, I always like to start in the center of my shape and work my way out. That way I don't risk overflowing that outline. When you're creating characters, you want to make sure that you're filling all these spaces enough. Sometimes people have a tendency to fill these areas a little shallow, and it just doesn't give the character that dimension once it's finished. They're afraid of it overflowing, and that's why this medium flood consistency is so great. I'm going to go ahead and flood the face next. I try to avoid flooding spaces that are next to each other whenever I can because sometimes it has a tendency while the icing is wet to overtake that outline. For this part of his face, you're going to want to keep it relatively flat. That way it won't distort the facial features when we go to add them later. So the tipless bags are great for doing small features like eyes because I can actually fit the small tip of my bag into the shape. That's when I begin to add the icing, and that way I can control what comes out and how much goes in. So sometimes when I'm afraid of adding too much icing with my icing bag, I actually squeeze out a small bead of icing here and I'll grab it with my scribe tool and add it that way. The scribe tool is a really great tool to use, especially in these super tight areas, because I'm going to use it to manipulate the icing in between these really tiny spaces here on its face. Also, all those little areas where we're going to push out to make clean corners, the scribe tool is great for that. And it really creates the dimension and characteristics in his face that really make Batman, Batman. So we're going to finish up by flooding the background. A good rule of thumb when you're flooding any area really is to fill a space about 90%, then you can always push the icing around to fill the space
You can always add more, but it's really hard to take it out. Trust me, I've tried. If you end up covering over some of your outline by accident, I would recommend waiting for that icing to set up for 10 to 20 seconds, and then come back with your scribe tool and you can actually clean away the icing from the outline a little bit. So you can kind of push it back ever so slightly to clean that up. All right, there it is. Now I'm gonna let this set up before I go ahead and add the final details.
I'm going to use some concentrated gel color and some vodka to get started. I like to have this practice cookie here so I can make sure that the amount of gel color on my brush is just what I want and not too heavy, especially when I'm painting those fine lines. I'm also using my projector to make painting the details a little bit easier. What I really like about painting is that I can achieve tons of detail and dimension on the cookie without adding another layer of icing, which sometimes can be a little bit clunky when you're actually eating it. This way you can really get in there with those super fine details. Our character cookie is complete. I love the unique take on this character cookie, putting Batman into the logo, and even though we're not capturing the full character, we're getting just the right amount of detail. I really love how this set came together. We utilized the iconic Batman logo for the simplest and most complex cookies. We disguised Batman in his own Bat logo and then took the same thing and turned a simple cookie into a perfect cupcake topper, making this display super versatile. Batman is just the beginning. To learn how to make 4 other superhero cookie sets, check out my new class on Bluprint, DC Superhero Cookies. I'll see you there.